Tower of God has some of the craziest powers and abilities in any show I've ever read. The cool thing about it is they're all diverse and unique. So today, the apostles of anime and myself will be breaking down what we think are the most overpowered slash broken slash crazy abilities and powers in the pre-workshop battle of Season 2. Just for some clarification, we're counting everything leading up to the Archimedes, so everything through one shot, one opportunity. Honestly, the only criteria we're using is just if it's busted in any way, you know, power, utility, whatever, then we considered putting it on this list. So hope you enjoy. Leave your own list in the comments down below. At number 5, we have the Espada de la Luz, the Sword of Light used by Khun Ron. Now, pre-workshop battle, Ron has only used this ability once. He used it against Kasano during the battle with Horyong and Nobik and all that stuff that went down during the Devil's Right Arm arc at the hand of Arlen. First of all, just looking at the ability, Ron is firing a huge blast of electric Shinsu from a very long distance, and it's piercing right through who he's attacking. So right off the bat, that says a lot. This technique has a lot of range, and more importantly, a lot of power. This thing packs a punch. Now, this move actually has a lot of utility because Ron isn't even a spear bearer, right? The Khun family is known for producing a lot of spear bearers, so even though Ron is a fisherman, he is still able to take on the role of spear bearer when he's needed, which means this technique can be used even if you're not a spear bearer and even if you don't have any spears. This technique is great because you can use it anytime you want, right? You don't have to, oh, I didn't bring my spear with me, or it's not a crazy powerful spear. A spear isn't needed, it's just Shinsu. Now, one drawback to this ability is that it does take a slight, well, it does take a toll on the body. Ron has stated he can only use it once per battle, or like once a day, so he has to be careful with it, but considering how much it packs a punch, I would say that's a pretty good trade-off. So overall, the Espada de la Luz, I think, deserves its spot at number 5.
All right, coming in at number 4, we have the blue ore technique, coined by Love early in Season 2, and now used by Bomb from time to time. No, I love this technique. It reminds me of the Silver Surfer a lot. Now, in terms of how powerful this is, right? We're comparing this to certain techniques that'll just blow someone away in a fraction of a second, right? So clearly this couldn't take number 1 with that, but for its usefulness and utility, wow, this thing is fantastic. First of all, you virtually can fly. You can fly, right? Which is really advantageous in the tower, as we've noticed. There are plenty of items that we're going to see, or abilities down the road, that will grant certain characters flight, and it always comes in handy every single time. The blue ore is no exception at all. Incredibly advantageous to be able to fly, so that's number 1. Number 2, it enhances your speed from what we see in the panels. Now, we obviously don't see them coasting through like in an animated sense, so we can't get an exact quantification on how fast Bomb is going, but I would wager to say, based off how they draw these panels in the webtoon, that he's going at a very fast speed. So if anyone were to just get this item or understand how to use it, you could double, triple your speed just by hopping on this blue ore and getting to said destination. We see it used all the time for evasive maneuvers as well. Bomb has become quite the pro with it, especially later on in the story, but even right now, he's pretty damn good with it as well, being able to dodge incoming ranged attacks, physical, the like. It's all there. The blue ore does that for you. In terms of utility, in terms of usefulness, there is rarely an item or an ability that comes close in this arc of Tower of God.
Number 3 is the floral butterfly piercing technique, or the Flarewave Explosion, if you're referring to the line translation, which they call it, but not the first time. They do it later because everything has 3 different names in this story. So that's great. So the floral butterfly piercing technique had to be on this list because of all the moves and abilities that are used in the pre-workshop part of Season 2, this is probably one of the most OP. Now, the 2 times that we see it happen in the comic is really only during the Shinsu measuring test, and then when Bomb has to fight Yorick Mizuno during the Flower Zigana arc. And neither one of those times is it used to its fullest potential, but just off the exclusivity of this move alone, which we know is a FUG-only technique and is a technique that takes decades to master. Of course, that's no problem for our protagonist Bomb, who can get slapped in the face and learn anything in one go. But that doesn't diminish exactly how strong and exactly how rare it is to see anybody utilizing this technique. So basically, in summary, the floral butterfly piercing technique allows the user to send a shockwave of Shinsu through the body of their opponent, completely disrupting their flow of Shinsu and thereby destroying the entire body of their opponent from the inside out. It's an incredibly powerful and dangerous technique to use if used incorrectly, but the fact that we see Bomb and subsequently now know that there are members of ToG, i.e. people like Jin Sung who taught him the move that can use this move, I would say it definitely deserves number 3 on this list.
All right, and coming in at number 2, we have the Devil's right arm. No, I'm just playing, but I do love these weapons because I'm going to be talking about both of them, although we see a lot of Hwoarang using specifically just the one arm throughout, but Cassino essentially has the same ability, so I kind of just lump him in here with this exposition. But no, I do love this concept of a weapon, right? The fact that it is combined with a human being. It is the human being. It is this organic life form that is also a weapon. So there is no such thing as sheathing it or unsheathing it, taking it out of a holster, making sure it's cocked and ready to go. It's there whenever you need it to be. It's on a dime. All you have to do is think it. And that really makes this an incredibly lethal weapon. I mean, not to mention how actually lethal the weapon is when we see its blast that it can use when it ignites. It's actually insane. And Hwoarang really elevates, at least in this arc of Tower of God, himself to kind of the upper levels in terms of power scaling that we see from most of these characters that are just regulars or part of Sweet and Sour, etc. These weapons are not to be messed with at all. I also love the fact that we have the cool visuals that accompany it when Hwoarang is kind of getting a buff, whether it be to his speed. They also have the little wing behind, which lets you do things, you know, different in that way. There are just a couple different cool things that you can do with this weapon, which makes it unique, but moreover overpowered, which is what we're ranking on this list today. And in terms of usefulness, the possibilities are pretty bountiful when it comes to the Devil's right and left arm or the Devil's arm just in general as a weapon. It most certainly deserves number 2 on this list.
And finally, number 1 on this list is something that we pretty much had to put at number 1. It's not even fair. Number 1 on the list is the Supreme King's Scorching Fist of Death, which is quite the name. If you don't know, this is Yurik Mizuno's signature technique. At least as far as we've seen in the pre-workshop battle, this is his big, legendary technique that he uses against Viralaine. And, I mean, it's not even fair. We were considering what techniques to pit against each other, and it wouldn't be right to put this technique any lower than at number 1. Now, of course, it's kind of not fair because it's being used by Yurik Mizuno, but considering the destructive power of this technique alone, you know, I'm assuming someone of Yurik's caliber has to use this move. Now, we do know it's kind of a funny thing. SIU has stated that Bomb did learn the technique, he did copy it, but he's apparently embarrassed to use it because of the name, which is hilarious. But still, all things considered, this technique has such destructive power that I'm assuming you have to, like, you yourself have to be strong enough to use it. So just looking at the technique alone, this thing is busted. This thing is absolutely insane. Yurik, not only was Yurik obviously not even close to a percentage of his power, but the move itself wasn't used at full power. So it's not just that Yurik was holding back, he was holding back within the technique. Like, the technique hasn't even shown itself fully. And yet, even from what we've seen, it's busted. This thing has such destructive power. It's a close range attack, and it's crazy. You know, it obviously O-code Bomb, and that says something, but I mean, again, he was holding back. And just from that one glimpse, I mean, this is easily the strongest and most busted technique in the pre-workshop battle. I think hands down, so yeah, we think it deserves number 1. But guys, let us know what your list is down below. I'm curious if you think we missed some abilities that should have been on this list, so definitely let us know. And guys, huge thank you to the Apostles of Anime. These guys make some great content, not just Tower of God, but they do have Tower of God discussions, webtoon reactions, and blog post discussions. I mean, they make so much good content, and other webtoon and anime content as well. I know they're reacting to and reviewing Attack on Titan, which is very exciting, so definitely go check out their channel, linked down below. below, and a huge thank you to them for coming on to the video. They also did make a video as a part of this ranking series last week, so I'll also link that down below. And if you want to stick around on this channel, we are on the road to 40,000 subs. I was hoping maybe we could hit it before the end of the year. That'd be kind of cool. We're kind of cutting it close. Maybe we can do it. I don't know. So subscribe for more Tower of God content and more daily content in general, if that's something you want to see. And like the video if you do want to see more ranking videos like this. We have a ton more planned, but we do want your feedback on how we can improve and if you want to see more. All right, guys, I'll see you in our next Tower of God ranking video. Take care.